Hello again, everybody. We're working on this We Stamps Fairy by Sylvia Zett. The rubber stamp image is available at iBreak for Stamps. In the other video we kind of tackled some folds and one side of the wing, showed you how to color that. Now I'm going to work on the hair. The hair is a little bit trickier. Hair always kind of frustrates people, so I'm just going to show you how to break it down a little bit into different sections, make it a little easier on you. So we're going to work on her. This is my absolute favorite hair color combo. It's E25, E31, and E50. I use it a ton. I teach it in my classes, and I love it for a lot of different reasons. Just by altering how much color you put down, you can alter the color. So this can go from a very dark brunette to a very pale brunette, which is what we're angling for on the fairy. I want to do a very pale brunette. If you added E29 to this grouping, then you have a very deep dark brunette. If you drop 50 out, which is the highlight color, with a gold like YR20 or Y21, then you have a brunette with golden highlights. Same thing, you can add some of the E's that have red in them, like E07 down through E19, and create different auburn looks. So these three I definitely recommend in having them in your Copic collection. I can use them on 10 different images and make it look different each time. So make sure that you're using your markers to their full ability. Even if you only have 10 markers, you should be getting 20 to 30 different looks with them. So make them work, try them out, add and subtract, add more color, add less color, and you can really make different colors with your combos. So this is what we're looking to do on her hair today. Again, I used very little bits of the E25. I really wanted her to be soft brown hair color, so E31 and E50 I used a lot. Again, if you wanted to darken her up, just increase how much E25 you use. As always, I start with my darkest color. Really sit down and look at your image before you get started. It's so easy to start coloring and then realize that you've lost points of light or it's gotten too dark. It's always easier to add dark than take it away. So use your darkest colors incrementally, and then as the ink dries you can come back and add layer by layer more. So I know that I want some of these sections of hair here to be a little darker. My light was coming this way, so I want this section of her hair to be very, very light. But this little section here I know would be shadowed. It's kind of, we can see it, but as far as the light hitting it, it's more shadowed, it's more facing in towards her face. So I'd add some dark here. Again, her hair's got folds, just like we did down on her dress. This is a fold, it's a mountain and a valley. The top of the mountain here I want to be light. So underneath the valley is going to be dark, so in this area. So here and here I know I'm going to have dark. Same thing up here on the back side of her head. The light's coming this way, so I know the back side of her head's going to be the darkest. So I'm going to have more dark areas towards the back. And then we get into all her curls, and this is where people start getting a little nervous. Break it down one section at a time. I know that this is a mountain. Same thing we did on the skirt, we're doing up here. The top of the mountain is going to be lightest. As it bends down and down, it's going to get dark. So if I'm coloring this, I'm going to have a little dark here and a little bit there. Then I'm going to pick up my 31. And then 50 is my lightest. That's for the top of the mountain. And then I'm just going to blend them, just like that. That's as small as you want to work. Yes, it takes longer, but it won't be as overwhelming. Same thing as I work down her hair. This kind of ripples here, this whole section. We've got this section that ripples up here. I know I want that to be very light, but I want the underside of it, where the valley is, to be darker. And then I'm going to pull that out with my 31 and then my 50. I know I want that to be light, so I'm not even going to use any 25 on that. I'm just going to use a little bit of 31 and 50. Same thing with this section here. I want it a little bit lighter, so I'm not going to use any 25 there. However, this section here is way underneath the rest of her hair, so I want that dark. I want this as it folds under dark and a little bit towards the back. And then I'm going to bring that out. That way I can make this look really, really light, which is my goal. This kind of bends out towards the light, and so does this. Then I'm going to come back to the front of her here, where I said that I knew this was going to be a little bit darker in here, and in this valley area, and a little bit right there. And I'm going to start blending that out. Yep, these are tiny areas, but you still need to treat them all the same. Gives consistency to your work. Now I'm going to start working this area here, and then we'll go down into the rest of her. So I want this a little bit deeper, darker here. If I put this dark color close to this, I'll make that pop even more. So that's kind of my goal, is I want to give just a little bit more color highlight there. I'm not adding a lot of this dark E25 because, again, I wanted her to be a soft brown brunette. So I'm really going to use a lot of my other colors. I'm going to go right over that braid with my lightest. I know that I'm going to come back and shade it, so I'm not worried about it. I'm going to start blending out this color more. E35 and E25 technically don't really blend well together, but they'll mesh softly together. So they do work well. It's not going to be like a solid color sweater. You want a little bit of contrast in those hair colors so you can be a little bit freer in how you choose them. Again, everyone's going to have their own favorite color. It may not be mine, and that's just fine. Like I said, I want you to experiment and test out your colors and your coloring so that you get it the way that you want it, not how I want it, or how your friend thinks you should do it. So we start getting the top of her head put together with her hair. Again, with this long tendril here, I want it to be a little bit lighter as well. I want it to really kind of fly out towards the light. But the underside I'm going to make dark. When I make this dark, I'm going to make the top of that look light. So it's all about playing kind of a little game with the colors, layering a light next to a dark to make it pop. Same thing with this tendril here. I want it to be a little bit lighter. Now this underside here I'm going to want dark, but this part where it pops up at the top I want light. So again, the same effect. Putting a darker area next to a lighter area makes that look much lighter. Same thing here, I want this to be lighter. And then I'm just going to add little bits of the 31. E31 is a great color. You can be a little bit more generous with it without worrying about getting too dark. Same thing here. Pull a little bit more color out there. On that braid, I want the center areas of that braid where it folds down into itself a little dark. So I'm just coming in with my 25 and I'm just adding a little bit of darkness. And then I'm going to color next to it with my E50. So it gives a little bit more pop there. Now as we work down here, as it comes closer from her neck here, I want this area to be a little darker. I know it's going to be a little bit more shadowed there. And as it comes out, here's that mountain again, it's going to start getting light. Tops of the mountains are always the lightest, no matter whether you're working with folds in dresses, fabric, or if you're working with hair. It's the same concept. Again, this is kind of the underside, so I'm going to add a little bit more dark closer to the light here to make that pop even more. here again, here's the mountain. The underside's going to be darker. We're going to keep the top of the mountain lighter. When you color hair, really break it down into sections. You can see I'm working one kind of curl tendril at a time. Otherwise it's easy to overcolor, it's easy to add too much color, lose your sense of highlights and folds. So break it down. I know some people have a hard time working small, but in the end it will help you. I promise. Same thing here. This ringlet here, I want that fold to be very, very light, so I'm just going to take my E50, but I want that underside to be darker. To make that really pop out. We have the same thing here. So I know this is going to be light, this area is going to be light. So I'm going to add a little bit of dark here and a little bit of dark in that fold, and just softly blend it up. And yep, I can take my colorless blender when I'm done and clean up all these edges. I'm not worried about it at all. Same thing with this. I want a little bit of a bend right there. It's a tiny area, so you really have to use the point of that Copic. Oops. Copic roll right into the image. If you've ever seen me color, you know I hold 3 in my hand, one that I color with, and then one in my mouth usually. So I always have a few hitting the area I'm coloring with, which is a detriment to me, so I don't suggest you do it, but that's the way that I color. On this area, we've already kind of shaded here. I'm going to add just a little bit more color down here, but keep this area light. And I'm just going to come back with 31 and blend out any areas that I think need a little bit more blending. This little area here is actually the strap on her dress, so that's why I've left it like that. I forgot to color it in the last video, so if you're wondering why I'm leaving it, and I'll zoom out a little bit. So that's how I color her hair. Really break it down, use your light, work small, work with a good color combo that you like, and you can color any kind of hair that you want. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I have some more coming up soon. I know it's been a while, but I do have some more. So if you have any questions, as always, I tell everybody you can email me anytime. And you can come to my blog. I have a lot of information about this image in the card there too, if you want to find out more. So anyways, thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed it.